because of your kindness.
Good morning. Welcome. We had a late sunrise this morning. Can you just hold this for me a second? Thank you. Because I lost my text on the other phone. So you're just here at the right time. So we have a very late sunrise this morning with all the cloud.
That looks pretty.
You know? Okay. So I just lost my text here, but I will get it back now. There we go. Excellent. So people, thanks be to God there was so much cloud this morning because I slept in. That light is very beautiful now, shining down through the cloud. That's actually what happens in today's reading. The first reading, there's so much light shining down through the clouds. It's amazing. Yesterday we had the gospel reaching Europe for the first time when this amazing woman, Lydia, opened her heart in Philippi. But the story didn't finish there. She opened her heart in her house, and the apostles found all that support. It's Paul and Luke and the others. But then some people didn't like what happened, and they roused up a protest, a conflict, and the authorities got involved, had them arrested, scourged, put in jail. And that's the beginning of the gospel in Europe. That's the beginning. All of us who are Europeans have to remember how many people really lay down their lives with so much suffering, so much hardship, so much martyrdom. For 3 centuries, it continued. Good morning, ladies. I came a little bit late this morning, to be very frank. It was because I also slept in, but thanks be to God, the clouds were very late. The clouds caused a very late sunrise this morning. So here we are waiting for the sun to come out again. And you can see here, you know the way around right up there. You see where all those covers are in the mountain? That's the Mount of Beatitudes. Are you aware of that? Right up there, above you have the water here, the jetty, above the brush where the birds are rising there. And up in the distance there, just in the lower height of that hill, you have those plastics, and that's the Mount of Beatitudes. And then just down from there, you have the multiplication of the loaves and the primacy of Peter. And then over to the right, you have the Capernaum. So we're enjoying this light. Sometimes when there's cloud, the light takes more beautiful forms. And it comes down through there's the sun coming out again now. And the light comes down through the clouds in a very beautiful way. Look how calm the water is today. And to remember, we had a violent storm here 10 days ago. You can check out the third last post, I think it is, here on the Sunrise Stroll and Chats here in the Facebook or YouTube, whatever you're going to be watching. And you can see the contrast between the lake this morning and the storms. And that's the way it is in the life of the church. Sometimes it's calm and peaceful, and sometimes there are terrible storms of persecution. Many times. And so we have Paul and Luke inside the prison, scourged in their first stop in Europe, completely rejected. Today in Europe also there's some major resistance to some major teachings from the gospel. It's really amazing. And the willingness of the witnesses, like yesterday's gospel, to be a witness to Jesus. And the guy in charge of the prison was going to commit suicide with his sword. And Paul stopped him because the earthquake had shattered all the locks. The gates were thrown open. The prison guard thought they had escaped, and he would be held responsible. So he wanted to commit suicide, and Paul said, "No, we're all here. We're not running away. We're staying in the place assigned to us." And then that guy brought them to his home to cure their wounds, to give them a good dinner, and they wanted to be baptized. So this was a whole family that was baptized. You could say it was baptized in the blood of Paul and Lucas. Of Luke, they were scourged. They were still aching tremendously, but they were baptizing an entire European family. There can also be storms in the in family life, but to be able to hold calm, like Paul and Luke and the others there, to stay calm, not to dramatize, and that's giving witness also to the gospel. It's really amazing to see that. This is one of the scenes that most impressed me in the New Testament, and what it means, the transition. A few years before, Paul was persecuting the Christians, and now he is accepting persecution. He is accepting suffering. So he is completely transformed from the core of his personality, and now he is laying down his life to give witness. It's really amazing. And this is the path of millions in the last 2,000 years. This is really how the church is built. Much more than just going out and saying things or building buildings. All of that are expressions of our faith. But the core is when one is able to lay down one's life. And sometimes it's not dramatic, like for Paul and Luke today. It's the laying down of life in plain simple service as a nurse, doing the normal housekeeping tasks of each day, the normal chores, but to give witness, to lay down one's life, to put others first. Another little detail that's really, in a way, shocking or surprising is they're whipped. They're aching terribly. They're thrown into prison. And what are they doing? They're praying and singing hymns to God. How can you sing hymns when you're whipped? And this reminds me of Maximilian Kolbe in the concentration camp in Auschwitz. And he's getting everybody to sing who are being starved to death. This is the transformation, the interior transformation of the person, to only do good, to only shine light, to only bring warmth, to only lift up hearts, even when oneself is being punished, one is being unjustly treated, one is being insulted, one is being put down, one is being rejected, one is being killed, and to only have good words, to only sing, to sing praise to God. And so we have that line throughout the centuries of the martyrs that they thank God for being considered worthy and gifted with grace to give witness. It's just amazing. Read that story yourself, people. It's really worth it. The Acts of the Apostles, chapter 16. Read the whole chapter because you're missing parts of it. We just have the more dramatic or significant scenes. It doesn't go into the detail. We skipped it between yesterday and today of the rebellion that was stirred up against Paul and Silas and Luke and so on. Your right hand saves me, O Lord. This is Psalm 138. To experience God's saving grace in our lives. Your right hand save me, O Lord. And actually that's happening all the time. It's just since we don't see it dramatically, we don't notice. We notice it when there's major dramatic moments, but it's actually constantly there. Your right hand saves me, O Lord. I will give thanks to you, O Lord, with all my heart, for you have heard the words of my mouth. Your right hand saves me, O Lord. The Lord will complete what he has done for me. That's a wonderful line. That's the line that reaches into eternity. The Lord will complete what he has done for me. Your kindness, O Lord, endures forever. Because God doesn't just love us one day or 2 days. He created us for eternal love. And then we switch over to the gospel, and it's the Last Supper. We're still there. That's where we are now these days. And Jesus is preparing his disciples. He's going to leave. And they're sad. Grief has filled your hearts. But I will send the Advocate, the Holy Spirit. And there's a very difficult text about the Holy Spirit. We won't go into it all now, partly because my battery is very low. But it's a difficult text. It would take much more time about the Holy Spirit's part of a description of the Holy Spirit's mission. We'll leave that for later. Maybe I'll comment it at the Mass this evening. We know that we are blessed by the presence of the Holy Spirit, who is carrying out this clarification in our own minds about sin and truth and goodness. Are you guys ready for a selfie moment? Niñas, vengan acá detrás de esos dos porque vamos a firmar con un selfie. Un selfie live. Pónganse detrás de esos dos ahí porque para que ellos salgan ahí. O pónganse todos juntitos ahí. Yeah. Okay. So we have these ladies here mostly from South America and different countries. Peru, Venezuela, Peru. Look at these ladies here. Ecuador, Peru, Venezuela. So you can wave. And there we have this beautiful day. People, God bless you. See you later, alligators.